Josh said here, 5 tips. Better photos. You can do it.
What's up? George O'Connor here for Foolhardy Photography. Josh is currently dead in the corner because he stupidly took the stairs. When there's an escalator here, idiot. First tip of the top 5 tips on how to take better photos. The first tip is, have a camera. If you don't have an expensive camera like this, have a small camera like this on an iPhone or a smartphone. Don't get iPhone. The second tip of the first tip is, if you're gonna buy an expensive camera, don't buy a Canon. Get a Nikon, a Mamiya, or a Hasselblad. Even though Canons are equally as good as Nikon, they're not as good as Mamiya, and they're not as good as Hasselblad. Take that on board, remember it, and happy photos.
Okay, so George went over tip number 1, which is, of course, it doesn't matter what camera you have, and that's true. I know I don't like his Canon bashing so much.
Can't see shit, man.
You realize it's upside down, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's Canon. Everything's upside down with Canon because it's shit.
However, it doesn't really matter what camera you have. But you need to know your camera. So that's tip number 2, is know your camera. Whether it's a smartphone, an iPhone, a DSLR, a mirrorless camera, it doesn't matter what it is. You need to know everything there is to know about your camera. If you don't, and you're having trouble, look it up. There's so much content that you can find about your camera online, I'm telling you. Or read the book, go to the website that makes your camera, look it up. Know your camera, that'll help you navigate how to use it. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, shadows and light. You need to look for shadows, you need to look for light. You need to look where the light is, you need to look where the shadows are, so that you can understand how to best light your whatever composition it is that you happen to choose. And here, there is a lamp here, which is lighting me. It's free light. I didn't bring that light with me. Naturally, where am I gonna film? Where the light is. Looking where shadows are, then you'll naturally be able to figure out where the light's coming from. And that's definitely tip number 3. That's gonna help you figure out how to best light any photo that you're taking. It's just simple. It seems simple, but definitely keep in mind, where are shadows? Wherever there's shadows, it'll tell you where the light is. Tip number 3. Tip number 4, composition. Composition is realistically what is in your frame. What is the subject of your frame? In this particular shot, you can see that we're very centered. Yeah. If you use rule of thirds, then you'll see there's a line there and a line there. And if you're trying to use rule of thirds, that means you want to position your subject in one of those lines. But you don't necessarily always have to follow the rules. What you really need to do is make sure that you have something interesting in your frame. A very specific subject, something that makes sense to the viewer and draws them in. And I think in this particular frame, it's kind of interesting. We got this cool door here, some light, this interesting structure. And we got me and George doing what we do best. And I'm not sure what that is. Photography, that's what we do best. Yeah. All right, that's tip number 4, composition. Okay, this is tip number 5, and it might sound simplistic. It might sound like, oh yeah, obviously, but go out and shoot. Honestly, you're gonna get the best photos when you actually take time to take photos instead of sitting at your house and watching YouTube videos all damn day. So it makes sense, right? Go out and shoot. That's how you're gonna get more photos, and good photos is by practicing. So that's tip number 5. And some extra tips: naturally, charge your battery. Make sure your battery's charged. Make sure your SD card isn't full and that the SD card's actually in your camera. And I'm gonna be honest, I've failed in that a couple times where I've forgotten the battery and I've forgotten the SD card. It's not fun when you look at your camera and you go, oh, no SD card. Oh, shit. So that's the 5 tips. I hope you got something from it. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And you know what? Cheers.